Hello, everyone. Welcome to this chat. I'm joined by Alexandra Taverna. She is an expert beauty pro, a mentor, educator, and an amazing advocate for the neurodiverse beauty community. And we're going to be chatting all about your journey into the industry, all the amazing things you're doing, and how you are supporting pros today.
Yes, I'm really, really excited to share this with you today.
Amazing. Can't wait to hear. Oh, I mean, you're an incredible person doing some incredible things. So let's get started. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into the beauty industry in the first place and kind of what drew you to that?
Okay, so I would absolutely love to say that it is something that I've wanted to do since I was little, but I didn't really know. I've always been quite creative and expressive and didn't really have the best time at school.
Yeah.
And went into sixth form, thought, this is not for me. And then my mum said, why don't you try going to beauty college? Because you like nails, you like makeup, you like all of this. So I thought, yeah, let's try it and let's do it. And before you know it, nearly 25 years later, I am still in the industry, and I am so glad I made that decision.
Yeah. Amazing. And so it wasn't initially what you thought you were going to do, but once
Uh,
you were in it, you loved it.
well, I don't know. I mean, I will come on to this a little bit more. There's all, when you are neurodiverse and you are kind of creative, you've got loads of ideas of what you want to do.
Yeah.
I think that I was always meant to be in this industry because I absolutely adore it. I focused heavily on nails at the beginning. And then I have, gone and done lots of different qualification, expanded sort of my skill set within the industry. But yeah, when I started it, it just kind of fit me, to be completely honest.
Mm.
And if I can give a little bit more about my experience there, I was an absolute force at 16. I would not have wanted to be my tutor at 16. And I went to college and was told at one of the colleges that I was exactly this type of learner they didn't want on their course,
Wow.
which led me to leave. And I went to another college and I did an apprenticeship, which was just brilliant. I was in the salons working, 4 days a week in front of people, learning skill sets, being really practical. And it was just the best thing. And then it kind of got me to a point where I thought, I found something I really like and something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to kind of hone in on the skill and just realize that it wasn't that I was lazy or that I wasn't paying attention or anything like that. It was that I needed to find what I was good at
Yeah.
and start to work at it.
Amazing. And so you've mentioned some of those things that Tutor said. And obviously, you've said about being neurodiverse. You were diagnosed with ADHD later in life. So, what were those characteristics now looking back? Are you like, oh, they were obvious signs, of my neurodiversity, but they weren't managed in the best way by at school?
Well, I think one of the major things that we have to kind of take into account when it comes to looking at, females with ADHD is that we can display very different to males. And
Yeah.
there weren't the awareness around that. So we can mask and we don't necessarily show it outwardly. It kind of more takes its toll inwardly.
Right.
Um, but I suppose like a lot of late diagnosed females in general, we kind of look back at our life and kind of map that in and think, okay, oh, so that fits here and this fits here, and oh,
Yeah.
maybe that wasn't me, maybe that was
Yeah.
impulsivity, or different things like that. And I have most certainly looked back throughout my journey and looked at different ways in which that it kind of was running the show
Mm.
without me being aware of it at the time.
Yeah.
I think in regards to schools and things, there weren't the awareness there.
Mm.
When I do reflect, I have major combined ADHD. So I have a very strong hyper and impulsive drive as well as sort of the inattention. So I kind of did display like boys would as well. I was quite loud. I was that I was a bit disruptive, but not in a negative way, just in
Yeah.
if there was any fun going off in the room, I definitely wanted to be part of it. I had to sit on my own next to a blackboard in the classroom because I was that mean, where, they've got that sticker on their back saying, please don't talk to me. I will waste 2 hours of my life speaking to you about absolutely nothing, get my
Yeah.
work done. That was me. And I think, And then looking back, there were loads of different ways. I think symptoms wise, impulsivity, you know, interrupting, talking, easily distracted, really enjoys certain things. I know lots of them needs to deep dive in them topics.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you are late diagnosed, you look back and look at ways this was kind of missed. And I think the saddest thing about it is you look at it and think, yeah, that was because of this. But for the past X amount of decades of my life, I've experienced criticism, you know, judgments, the way people have kind of reacted towards me from things that I didn't realize were things that I was struggling with as well.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
gives you a lot of different perspectives. And I'm sure that there's a lot of late diagnosed females who are in similar positions to me who've looked back and thought, yeah, there's lots of things there that I need to digest
Yeah.
and grieve and work through as well.
Yeah. Amazing. And so you received the diagnosis. How did this come about, and how was that experience? Because it must be harder when, you are, what were you, 39? Like
Mm.
it must make you kind of question a lot of things.
You see, so actually, I think I was diagnosed on the 7th of December last year. So it was like a month before I turned 40.
Yeah.
And I've actively, I would say, for the past 15 years, worked on self-development. So learned coping mechanisms that I now realise were me managing major combined ADHD.
Yeah.
But at the time, I thought it was me having an enormous personality, you know, me
Yeah.
just trying to manage that.
Yeah.
And it was really weird because about a decade ago, I read a book by a lady who had ADHD, and I can remember reading it thinking, I do lots of things that she says in this book.
Yeah.
And then I thought, and then I just kind of just let it go because I think my life wasn't, I wasn't struggling with anything. I was just managing to get on with things. And you don't know any different. That's the thing.
No,
Like, you know,
no.
you say, oh, did you know you had it? I didn't know what it felt like not to have it
Yeah.
because I've had it
Yeah.
since the minute I was born,
Yeah.
you know, so it's,
It's
I don't
you.
know any
Yeah.
other way. And then I think, you know, things, as we start to get older, things start to, I think, put more pressure on, you know, life's demands, responsibilities, running
Yeah.
businesses, you know, being a parent, doing
Yeah.
everything like this, you know, everything we're juggling so many different balls. And that's where overwhelm can start, you know, burnout and things. And I just got to a point last year where I thought, you know, I've worked really hard to manage and cope, and I've coped really well in the fact that I can build my businesses without being aware. You know, I have been able to manage the major symptoms that I deal with and learn lots of coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
just felt like there was something that I that hijacked me,
Mm.
even though I felt like I could deal with it quite well. But I think because I did and I internalized a lot of it, it used to take a lot out of me as a person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just thought, you know, I need to find this out. So,
Mm.
and then when I did get the diagnosis, I don't know, I already felt like I knew I had it. I
Yeah.
felt like I knew. I just thought, you know, I think there is lots of things here. And when I did get the diagnosis, I feel like you do feel relief
Yeah.
because you kind of think, okay, so it is that. It's not
Yeah.
just in my
Yeah.
head. Like
Yeah.
it are the things. And I think by that, then you start to give yourself a lot more grace. And you
Yeah.
start to
Yeah.
realize how, you know, how well I've done
Yeah.
managing all these things I was completely unaware of.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so you got the diagnosis, and then all the things you've done after have been absolutely incredible as a result. So tell us how the diagnosis shaped your career.
So with the diagnosis, I then just started to think, you know, I've been an educator for the past decade. So I have taught so many different learners over the years, adult learners and neurodiverse learners. And I have made reasonable adjustments, you know, as an educator. I have been that one, you know, who's noticed all the different characters in the room and
Yeah.
things. And I started to realise how incredibly talented neurodiverse
Mm.
people are within our industry and in general. You know,
Yeah.
we just kind of have a different kind of honing skill set where we notice things in a different way. We
Yeah.
complement our neurotypical peers. And I just started to think, you know, there's so many of us in this industry because it is where a lot of us get directed to, you know, if we are not getting on well at school.
Yeah.
And I just thought we need to raise more awareness about it because it shouldn't be something we don't talk about. And I kind of
Mm.
felt like when I got that diagnosis and I thought, oh my goodness, you know, it's not just me. I thought, how many other people in our industry
Mm.
feel like that? And I think because we do have an industry where a lot of us will work solo. We'll go home, we'll do it from studios,
Yeah.
we tend to isolate. And if
Yeah.
we are neurodiverse and we've dealt with these difficulties in salons without being aware of it, we can isolate ourselves off, which then
Yeah.
can negatively impact our mental health. We don't have many people that we feel understand us because of
Mm.
the negative experiences we've had in the past. We don't want to mix as much. And it's like, I felt like I really wanted to be that person that kind of come out and spoke about it
Yeah.
because I could,
Yeah.
and I think it's important for people to do that as well, because if we don't, then nothing's going to change, is it?
Yeah.
And it isn't heavily spoken about in our industry. So I was teaching a lot up until sort of the beginning of this year. And then I thought, I really want to focus on going down and supporting ADHD female creative business owners
Yeah.
because it matters. And I
Mm.
think a lot of it's the journey of, what I should have had and what I wanted to have when I was so many years ago and thinking, I want to be that person.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, you can do it. Don't question yourself. We need to just learn a way to work with our brains,
Yeah.
not against them, and kind of be able to show them a new way. So that's where I kind of pivoted. So took a big leap and was like, you know what, I want to do what I feel is right. So I've started coaching ADHD professionals, which I absolutely love, like, heartbeam,
Yeah.
adore it. Helping them manage their kind of symptoms around work, be able to leverage their skill sets,
Yeah.
organize, manage, and help to reduce that overwhelm. I've
Yeah.
also developed a membership called the Clubhouse, which is a monthly low-cost membership for people, and ADHD female creatives, where every month I release a glow guide, which is kind of PDFs, toolkits, tutorials, and things around how to deal with their major symptoms within work. So
Yeah.
it can be things like how to manage overwhelm,
Mm.
burnout, progress forward, with rejection sensitivity dysphoria, all the different things. And I have started to talk about how that impacted my own career, what that looked like, and
Yeah.
how building these new mechanisms and coping mechanisms that I learned many years ago without
Mm.
knowing I was managing ADHD,
Yeah.
and what that did for me to be able to progress.
Mm.
So it's kind of paying it forward, if that makes sense. So I am totally an advocate now. I am an ADHD UK ambassador as well for the charity, because I feel like it's
Yeah.
important to be able to raise awareness and a flag for how hard women in our industry work who are neurodiverse as well. So yeah,
So
that's how
true.
it's shaped and changed what I do.
It's amazing what you've done. And so you mentioned a bit about you putting in place those sort of coping mechanisms. And
Mm-hmm.
so how does ADHD present itself for you? And sort of what were those mechanisms that really helped you without you realizing it was ADHD?
So if I suppose if I could give you some kind of information on how it would display before,
Yeah.
it would be overwhelm.
Mm.
That would be, there's already a million plates spinning. I can't have another one.
Yeah.
And then when it's the littlest thing and it's like complete overwhelm, burnout, I work really hard. So I'm a workhorse, but I would work a lot, which would then tire me out. And then it kind of got to that kind of stop, start,
Yeah.
stop, start, stop, start kind of, and then it affects your confidence because you don't feel like you're as consistent as your peers. And
Mm.
it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why can't things just be as easy for me? I go into work and I'm giving 150%, but then I'm absolutely shattered.
Yeah.
So how can I find that balance for me? Other ways that it would display is impulsivity. Yeah, I've looked back and thought maybe leaving and doing these things would have been a lot easier for me if I'd have been able to bide my time. But
Yeah.
at that moment, it's like I'm leaving, or
Yeah.
I'm dysregulated and I
Yeah.
can't do this anymore, or
Yeah.
all them little things that kind of come into it. But I also feel like it's really helped me leverage because I am
Mm.
impulsive, so I would take a risk.
I was going to say, it's not always a bad thing, is it?
No, it's not. I would take a risk. I would push myself forward, and then I would learn how to swim. What I tell my ADHD coaching clients is sometimes we need to jump first and then learn to swim as we go along. So
Yeah.
I have done that, and I think that's a really invaluable skill set. I'm really
100%.
proud that I do. A lot of them at the beginning woke me up screaming in the night, because I was a bit like, oh my gosh. what have I done? But we'll see you through. So they're them type of things. And I think the other thing with ADHD is the fact that I like to talk, as you can see, and I would talk to my
Also
clients
not a
every
bad
day.
thing though.
No, I would build relationships with my clients. I would be the funny one. I could laugh at myself
Yeah.
because I had to.
Yeah.
I cry at times. But it's helped me build my business in so many different ways. And I think it
Mm.
actually stayed undiagnosed for as long as it did because I was able to build a business that
Yeah.
suited me.
Yeah.
I didn't need to conform. But
Mm.
what that then develops is a business owner who is herself thoroughly unemployable. She will go in and do whatever, and that's just kind of how it is. I've just learned to work with my brain, not against it. Coping mechanisms that I would say would be the kind of biggest things that I've learned to do. One that I actively talk about is the power of the pause.
Mm.
So if I am smiling because I could tell you so many stories right now, but if I felt dysregulated or something would happen,
Mm.
straight away there would be that kind of internal alarm system that's just kind of going off.
Yeah.
And the only way that I could describe it would be like a fire had started in my stomach, and it just starts to come up. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to talk
Yeah.
about it and it's got to come out right now. But
Yeah.
when you're in the work environment, it's difficult to do that.
Yeah.
So it would be, I have to pause right now, even though I don't want to.
Yeah.
Everything about me does not want to pause. I
Mm.
want to be Harley Quinn right now, but I need to pull back and then I need to be
Yeah.
able to think about it and then make a different decision.
Yeah.
That's amazing because what I think definitely happened in the past for me before I built this awareness is that I would sometimes not display my best self, which would really frustrate me because I think actually what I've responded to is unfair. But because of the reaction
Yeah.
that it displayed with inside me,
Yeah.
it used to kind of then make me feel out of like it was something that I couldn't control myself. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And then I used to think, well, maybe I'm not made for it because just look how stressed out I get with things. Whereas
Oh.
then when you then start to pause and think, let me just make a decision,
Yeah.
it then becomes quite a valuable skill that you can learn.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you are that person in a room who would react and you don't,
Yeah.
oh yes, I'll speak when I want to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Well, we're
Yeah.
going to go away and I'm going to think about this and come
Yeah.
back. It's really good skill set to learn in a really positive way.
Yeah.
Other things are learning to be around the people who get you,
Yeah.
and not listening to what other people might say about
Mm.
what they feel you are capable of.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like if we hone in on a skill set and we master the skill set, and if you are neurodiverse and you're listening to this and you get hyper focused like me, and you will lose hours of your life
Yeah.
because you are like wanting to know every single thing about this thing because you love it that much,
Mm.
you will get really good at it. But that can also highlight insecurities within other people, which then
Yeah, that's very true.
gets aimed at you, and because we're highly sensitive and energetic, we pick up on it,
Yeah.
and it can make us feel really uncomfortable.
Mm.
And it can, and I know for myself in my own journey, it's kind of made me dim my light and dim what I was
Yeah.
capable of for many years because I just thought, oh, well, maybe I can't do it like they said. Whereas
Yeah.
learning to only listen to the people who matter and be able to put my best foot forward, I think that as well has really given me that confidence to be able to not take on other people's opinions
Yeah.
and be
Yeah.
able to push myself forward with that as well. And I'm trying to think of the other ones as well now because I could go on all day. Coping with a pause and just kind of being able to learn more about who I am
Yeah.
and raise an awareness of the way things affect me
Mm.
in a way that it wasn't me having that emotional reaction to what that says about me as a person straight away. So
Yeah.
me thinking that happens to me a lot, I wonder why,
Mm.
rather than that happens to me a lot, I'm not made for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
and being able to look at it from a curiosity point of view, to
Mm.
look at ways I can maybe manage it rather than using it to measure how capable I was within my work.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
So I
that's so important because there's so many people I know that it's that thing you were saying, working with your brain, not against it. And I think
yeah,
there's a lot of people that think, oh, I've got to be exactly like this person. No, you definitely don't. You've got to be yourself.
150%. Like, and that is one of the things that I would say, and I've said to all of the business owners that I mentor and to myself as well, you are meant to be you.
Yeah.
If you try to be anybody other than who you are doing yourself an enormous disservice
Yeah.
because you are not recognizing your unique gifts.
Yeah.
And if we always compare ourselves to other people as well, then we don't give ourselves any space to be able to build ourselves up
Yeah.
and to learn what our own unique strengths are. And
Yeah.
you never know, because there might be that person that you're looking at and you're thinking, wow, they are, they're so good at what they do. They might be people who are looking at you saying exactly the same thing, but we don't take time to recognize that because sometimes we don't look in here.
Yeah. It's so true. So, so true. And so you've mentioned a bit about the clubhouse.
Yep.
Can you say a little bit about what you offer to pros? Because you have some fantastic resources and services available. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Of course I can. So I have some free resources which are on my website, which is www.alexandrabeautyexpert.com. Things around, how to gain new clients, how to build more confidence in your business. If you are a beauty tech who's been in it as long as me and you want to battle tech, I've got some tips with that as well,
Mm.
because I was a techno dinosaur. Also about how to manage ADHD whilst running a business, which is so important. So they're all free resources that you can access. I also have podcasts, Confessions of a Beauty Queen and Beautifully and Aesthetically ADHD. And I am just in the process of revamping them and starting a YouTube channel. So keep an eye out.
Wow.
With the other services that I offer, so I do ADHD coaching and technical support. Now, I do this as a provider for a government scheme called Access to Work.
Mm.
So people who are neurodiverse can be diagnosed, undiagnosed, or waiting at the moment because assessment waiting times are just so long. They
Yeah.
can access a grant called Access to Work. Now, this is for them to be able to get coaching and technical support to help them kind of manage their major sort of symptoms that are affecting them every single day in work. So certain things that I've just spoken about before, like, overwhelm, burnout, organisation. I didn't mention the organisation thing when we spoke earlier about how how that can affect us as well, because we're just spinning a million plates. But
Yeah.
how, for them to be able to get systems in place so that you can manage that effectively, build your confidence through coaching, which is what I actively do with professionals,
Yeah.
so that they can then put their best foot forward.
Yeah.
And again, be able to work with their creative brains, not against them.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect industry to be able to do that as well, because
Yeah.
you can pivot, you can change, you can adapt. So I am an Access to Work provider for ADHD coaching and technical support. I also offer private ADHD coaching and business coaching in general, which is very similar to what I do. All on kind of, helping build confidence, you be your best self, how to kind of tailor and my advice and support in regards to where you want to go
Yeah.
and what you want to achieve. And honestly, being able to have that person and that sounding board is just invaluable to seeing
Mm.
how my clients are progressing, how they're developing, and how they are completely owning their skill
Yeah.
set. Just shows me how important it is.
Mm.
And it's just my way of paying it forward. And
Oh.
then I've also devised a membership called the Clubhouse. So this is a low-cost monthly membership where I've spoken a little bit earlier, where I release a guide every month, which is all around different topics. So again, like, building confidence, overwhelm, being authentically yourself, being a content queen. How can we manage content when we're neurodiverse? We've got a million shiny balls flying around our
Yeah.
heads every day that we want to grab and run with, and we don't know which one. So that how are we going to get organised? How are we going to build content? How are we going to put our best foot forward? So each month there's one released. There's also tutorials on there as well. So I'm talking about how that's migrated over into my business. Audio notes, and this is one of the things that I think really valuable in there is a story for every single guide
Oh,
of how I learned this,
oh, I love
what it did
that.
for my business,
Yeah.
what I was struggling before, and how it changed, and also what I would do different. Because honestly, if I could have had somebody years ago who,
Mm.
talked about, oh, that's totally normal, you're feeling like that's part of it, I'd have been like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I've sat at home and thought I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is that to me is invaluable. Like I would have given anything to have that.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
kind of like being that honest person who talks about. We've got a group community as well with the clubhouse, and every single month on the first, sorry, at the beginning of the month we do a evening training
Mm.
live where I'll talk about that topic, which is great because it's really
Yeah.
nice to see them all, interact and build confidence and realize that, we're all very similar. And
Yeah.
this is something I want to add here. So
Mm.
I spent years, and I mean at least 20 years of my career, feeling like I it was just me that dealt with these things. Didn't know
Yeah.
it was ADHD and my personality in general. To then become a coach, focusing specifically on this, to hear so many things, and speak to my clients and think, oh my word, I thought I was the only one.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how similar we all are, honestly, and
Mm.
that's been one of the things, and that's why I wanted to bring a community together
Yeah.
so much as well. There are so many different things that will be coming with the community and what I am building. So I also have a Facebook group called Beautifully and Aesthetically ADHD that is growing, and there's going to be lots more to come with that as well because I've only just started. So yeah, coaching. If you are somebody who has got access to work support and you want to find a provider, that's something we can explore. Also, ADHD coaching, mentoring, and support is something that I can explore as well, and the services that I offer, and then the clubhouse membership at the moment as well.
Amazing. And I love what you were saying about community then. That is so important, especially
Mm,
with people self-employed at the minute, because it's just,
massively.
it can be so lonely, can't it?
Yeah, really. And I think this industry is competitive at times. I'm going to say
Yeah.
it. People know, oh, I
Yeah.
think it's probably no. And I'm not saying it negatively. I'm being realistic. This is
Yeah.
business,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we all need to learn to look after ourselves. And we are females. We are owning it. We are in our own lane. We are going to protect that. And
Yeah.
that's fine. And I do think it's definitely a lot more inclusive than it
Mm.
was when I first started out.
Yeah.
And it gives you a backbone, let's just say that. You build a very strong one. And yeah. And the thing with being self-employed as well, what I've learned over the years is that we end up sometimes being labelled as being difficult or too much or, too opinionated. But I've never had HR to ring if I've had an issue in work.
Mm.
I'm HR.
Yeah. You're
I don't
everything.
know how this is going to go. I've freelanced and worked for myself all of my career. And when I've been
Yeah.
in these places and done things, it's like I've needed to take care of me
Mm.
because I didn't know, I had nobody else to. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So
Yeah.
it makes us ice, and it can be really lonely. And I think
Mm.
sometimes they don't get embedded the business skills that we need to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
started out. And then we get started out with a dream. And then we start, years down the line, it's like, hang on a minute, but what I'm charging for this dream is
Yeah.
starting to cost me now.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Yeah.
happy, and I want to buy a house, and I want to, I want to do all these things. So it
Yeah.
is lonely. And to build that community of people who kind of are inclusive and are
Mm.
mature enough in their journey and their businesses to be able to connect and to want that support because we need it rather than
Yeah.
feel guarded.
Yeah.
Journey I've been on, it's so important to be able to positively impact that because we are so much stronger when we work together.
Yeah. It's so true.
There's
So,
enough
so
sunshine
true.
for everybody.
Yeah. This exactly that. Well done. Thank you. Um, and so thinking about your career so far and all the amazing things you've done, what are the sort of top moments that stick with you? They might be positive or negative, but what are the ones that really stand out for you?
As in being like, pivotal moments.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so I'm really pleased that I've done this from scratch as well because I focus on nails a hell of a lot for my career. So I
Mm.
would say I started out doing nails and I did nails for a long time and I built a very solid business doing
Mm.
nails. And then I moved away from it probably about 7 years ago now. I'm really pleased that I mastered a skill set, and I think for that time that I was doing it, there's been lots of times that I've looked back at my time doing nails
Yeah.
and I thought, I was capable of doing other things as well, and I didn't progress my qualifications more at that point. But
Yeah.
what I forgot to recognize was that I was honing in on a skill. I was building a
Yeah.
solid business that gave me security, and I was got my head down and I made it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they are valuable skill sets that I've used to migrate, pivot, and grow throughout my career.
Yeah.
So, and doing nails is difficult.
Oh, so
Like,
difficult.
mastering this skill. I've taught many,
Yeah.
many, many nail techs since as well. We don't realize how hard it is to be able to build it, get it to look the way it should do, get it to last the way it should do, be able to do it in a decent time enough to be able to bring home a return, be able to
Yeah.
charge enough, be able to all of this, so
Yeah.
learning all of them things are difficult ways
Mm.
and being able to master it. Now, what I would like to add before I add on to the other moments is I can always remember when I was teaching, a lot of learners used to say, how did you get clients coming back and how did you get them to come back for as long as they did? Because I have got clients now that I've done for over 20 years,
Wow.
and I've got, and I'm really proud to keep that, especially because
Mm.
I've taught a lot of people in my area,
Yeah.
so there is competition there and some
Yeah.
amazing techs. And the only way that I could answer it, because I didn't start out with anything, I had to really build myself up,
Yeah.
was I didn't have a choice.
Mm.
I had to ask for feedback. I had to ask them why it wasn't lasting. I had to think outside the box. I had to look at them different things and their invaluable skill sets.
Yeah.
Other pivotal moments for me. So learning the business skill set then, I didn't
Mm.
appreciate that at the time.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be moving. There's a time to learn. There's a time to build. And I
Yeah.
was building at
Mm.
that moment. And then when I started to grow more and I started to get into education, I think a lot of the relationships, the reputation that I built at that point years ago served me really well, and it started to really grow then. So teaching and educating has been a huge pivotal point for me. I really enjoy sharing my knowledge,
Mm.
seeing learners be able to kind of do what I have taught them to do as well, and
Yeah.
help them to be
Mm.
able to progress and build their businesses with the support that I've offered as well has been very, very pivotal to me in order to be able to give it back. And I think because I was just a hell of a lot at the beginning of my career, and I was the wild card. Do you know what I mean? So then being
Yeah.
able to go into it and think, I know what it takes to do it because I've lived it.
Yeah.
I then moved from teaching the learner to teaching the trainer. And
Yeah.
then there's lots of trainers across the UK who have helped support and educate with, which is brilliant. Then I think, more recently is kind of moving into the part of my business that makes my heart smile,
Mm.
which is like the coaching. Oh, I'm getting emotional then. The
Oh.
coaching and the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
you've done
that for
fantastic.
me is like huge because you just realise that we've all got a path to follow.
Mm.
So I think, the being brave enough for this, especially to kind of think, no, I'm going to park this for a bit. I'm going to do this because it's what needs to be done. So I think this year.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. That's fantastic. And so thinking about all the experiences you've had and all the things that you teach during your coaching, what are your top bits of advice for other neurodiverse beauty professionals that may be watching this and they're feeling a bit overwhelmed and then maybe feeling like you did at the start of your career where you're like, oh, I'm not sure if anyone else feels like this.
Um, I did write some things down in regards to this. One of the things that I wrote down, and we've covered already, is just don't be anybody but yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to be professional. Yes, we need to progress. Yes, we need to be manage the symptoms. Focus inwardly, build your awareness,
Yeah.
look at what you're good at, maximize on it. Right? You
Mm.
do not need to do everything, but you need to do what you do well
Yeah.
and give yourself the ability to be able and permission That's a big word, permission to think outside the box, trust your gut,
Yeah.
and take a risk. Because when you do at the right time, then it will be the right time, and it will pay off for you as well. But there's a journey. So just make sure that you spend your time building your awareness, learn how to run a business as well. Don't just let your impulsive decisions run away with you. One of
Yeah.
mine was I bought a business at 21. Huge amount of money spent on a first time business at 21 because nobody was telling me I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
Um, you know, big leap and something that knocked my confidence hugely in my
Mm.
career.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot. So just get your head down, learn how to run a business, niche down. Look at the people who are around you that are absolutely killing it, and
Mm.
rather than compare, learn, allow yourself to be teachable. Watch what they do,
Yeah.
watch how they interact with their customers, watch how they move, watch how they work. Do all of that because it'll help you progress, and
Mm.
just believe in yourself
Yeah.
because that's huge.
So huge. Oh, I love that was fantastic advice. And so looking to the future, what are
Yeah.
your plans and your aims? What are you wanting to achieve further than you have?
Raising a lot more awareness, be able to support a lot more, professionals and females who are late diagnosed, working, building their businesses to help them to work with their brains,
Mm.
not against it, and building frameworks that will help support people who are waiting for assessments
Mm.
and, who need to get that support when they are self-employed. Because, when we have to work a bit differently when we're self-employed as well.
Yeah.
This is the thing. We directly progress at the rate at which we build within ourselves, our confidence, our skill set, our organization, our work patterns. We don't get paid unless we deliver. But
Yeah.
it's really hard to deliver when you're neurodiverse and you're dealing with overwhelm and you work a
Yeah.
million hours a day for a week, and then you don't feel like you work the next week. And it's hard to be able to learn how to do that. So by being able to share what I know, build my community, I would love to be speaking, at conferences, different, ceremonies and in front and sharing the valuable advice that I can to offer, and just help to raise awareness and build more support for females who are self-employed, got ADHD, neurodiversity, and they are wanting to build their dreams.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's the sky's the limit. There's quite a lot of things that I've got in place, so I am, putting phases into my own ideas because I've got lots of them,
Yeah,
and
but
then pushing them forward. But I'm really pleased with how it's all going, and I'm just excited to see what it all holds in the future as well.
also it's crazy, isn't it, to think that you said you were diagnosed last year
Yeah.
and look at how much you've sort of has come about because of that. And it's fantastic.
I think, it's really weird because all of the different things that I put in place all of these years to be able to manage the way that I have, I was doing that unaware. And
Yeah.
then when the diagnosis came, and I was probably on the radar for 2 years before this anyway, I then thought I was always meant to do that
Mm.
because now I've got so much relatability,
Yeah.
so much experience
Mm.
battling through the mud, falling down, wiping my scuffed knees off, getting up,
Yeah.
doing it again,
Yeah.
being that person that I can help really relate and inspire and help, people grow
Yeah.
from them experiences as well. So I think, it was all meant to happen the way it did.
Yeah. Yeah. Life has its way of being funny, but it all works out, doesn't it? And it's
It does.
definitely,
It certainly does.
yeah, it's worked out so well. So if anyone's watching this and they want to um contact you and get involved in your coaching or access to work stuff, what do they need to do?
So you can go onto my socials. So you can search for my group, which is Beautifully and Aesthetically ADHD.
Yeah.
My socials are Alexandra Beauty Expert. So I'm on Instagram, TikTok. I've got my TikTok vibe on now. Facebook, and my website is www.alexandrabeautyexpert.com. You can go onto there and explore my access to work support, my coaching, look at what I offer, and you can also book a free discovery call so we can talk about, how, and what I can support you with. The
Yeah.
clubhouse is also on my website as well, so you can explore that, and the options that is within that as well, and see me within that community if you decide to join there as well. And yeah, so that's how you would get in touch with me and find all the different resources that I offer.
Perfect. Well, thank you so, so much for
Oh, you're
talking
welcome.
today.
Thanks for asking me to do this. I appreciate it.
It's been great. And I mean, we've talked over email and message, but to hear it from you is super inspiring. So thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you so much.